Good evening from Swansea wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And today is Saturday, and you know what that means. It means it's time for the SmackDown review. And as you guys can see, I'm back in Wales, in Swansea to be specific. I'm back for Easter break, and well, it's going to be a fun week. We have WrestleMania next weekend, but this weekend, well, we've just had an episode of SmackDown, and there's a lot to talk about. But before we jump head first into that, let me introduce the panel and kick things off with the co-host of the show, Mr. Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
Dude, I'm stoked to be here as always. We've got a sweet weekend. We got the Elite Eight coming up here shortly. The Sweet 16 just passed in the NCAA tournament. We got good wrestling along the way, and it's the start of actual WrestleMania week. We've got WrestleMania on the end of this one, 7 days away. Dude, I'm fired up. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. No, we certainly will. It is going to be a fun one, that's for sure. Also joining us, we have the Tuesday Night Delight on a Saturday. Shad, how are you?
Throw them twos up. I'm good, man. I feel like I'm like the everyday delight at this point.
Yeah, you
These
are.
fans, y'all get to see me every single day. But I'm good, man. It was a splendid week of wrestling. I've enjoyed almost every show that I've got to watch this week. So it's a beautiful time as us wrestling fans would like to see. And I like to call myself Becky Lynch's favorite podcaster now. She
Hey.
acknowledged the picture, and I'm on her profile if y'all ain't see. So I'm kind of the GOAT right now. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to deny that, right? You're on her Instagram page. That is just huge. That is truly, truly amazing. When I saw you sent that, I was in shock. Within the space of 12 hours, Wrestling Republic people were featured on TNA and on Becky Lynch's Instagram. It was a very hectic day here at Wrestling Republic. And also joining us, we have Jordy. How are you?
I'm all right, man. I feel like I've got nothing to say in terms. I haven't been on anybody's Instagram, but I'm still here. And we're going to talk about it. It's a show I'm looking forward to. We're building up to WrestleMania. I'm with my guys Ben, Clark, Shad. I don't really feel like I'm with that many other people when I'm on this daily podcast. I feel like I seem to see you three guys more than anyone, but I'm not mad about it, and I welcome it. In fact. Let's go. Let's talk.
Absolutely. No, it is a fun time, and it's going to be a fun time today, just like last night's episode of Friday Night SmackDown was, because the show kicked off with my favorite boys, the Yes Boys.
Yes, boys.
Pretty Deadly, beating completely cleanly, may I add, beating Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, a 5-star performance. Pretty Deadly, I think, should be in for a push post-Mania, and I honestly, genuinely think the fact they got this win here, right, whether Logan Paul was involved or not involved, I genuinely think that the fact they did get that win could well mean that post-WrestleMania, following WrestleMania, Pretty Deadly could be in line to have a huge push in the tag team division. And I, for one, was very shocked when they didn't qualify for this ladder match that they're having in the tag team division at Mania. But maybe there's some bigger plans for them afterwards. But not that many people beat the likes of Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. And for them to do that on an episode of SmackDown, well, that is just huge. And I'm excited to see what's next for them. Of course, after the match, Randy Orton was quite frustrated with Kevin Owens for taking the pin, but once he realized that, hey, there may or may not have been some involvement from Logan Paul, Randy Orton went under the ring, dragged Logan Paul out, and they scrapped all over the arena. And yeah, Logan Paul then stole a car. And I mean, SmackDown, just like Raw this week, started off in a very hectic way. Clark, I wanted to get your thoughts on this.
Well, like you said, Ben, Mr. Clean would be proud of that finish. It was absolutely as clean as could be, right in the center of the ring. But no, in all seriousness, there had to be a way to provide a little bit of dissension between Orton and Owens along the way. They did enough of that, dragging Logan out from under the ring. I loved it. I dig it. They're both coming for him, whether it's the stunner or the RKO. He's going to be taking at least one of those. And I think Logan will be able to deliver as far as on the selling end. I'm excited about this match. I don't know which night card wise it's going to be on, but I'm more excited about the match now than I was before.
Oh,
And that's also a testament to your guys, the Yes Boys. Um,
yes, boys.
they did their job to a T last night. They were excellent in the ring. The character work is hysterical. It's comedic. It's awesome, but that does not make them bad wrestlers. Let's not think that this is just purely sports entertainment. They both can go. And you can see that when they work with guys like Kevin Owens and Randy Orton in a match like last night. I dug this one. I really did. And it made me more excited about the U.S. title match than I was before. I'm always excited to see Randy Orton, and I'm always excited to see Kevin Owens. I've joked about Logan Paul for a long time, but this is going to be one of those matches that I'm not saying show stealing, but could be very memorable where you go, oh yeah, they had that US title, that triple threat. Like it's starting to feel like that in a way that a couple weeks back it did not.
No, that is a good point. And like you said, they started to show the cracks in the relationship between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. But at the same time, they were kind of, fixed quicker than they actually, got cracked. Because as soon as Orton realized that, hey, it was Logan Paul, then Logan Paul became the focus
Right.
once again. And I do wonder that maybe next week they have one more episode of SmackDown. Maybe they could have a bit more of a divide between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, because like you said, that's kind of what's been missing. But I do agree with you that this could be a great, great match. A match which maybe will go under the radar and over deliver at WrestleMania. And of course, Logan Paul, you mentioned Kevin Owens, you mentioned Randy Orton, but Logan Paul on the big stage often delivers. Shad, what are your thoughts?
I did enjoy the match. I'm a big fan of Pretty Deadly. I think they kind of fit the mold of what a WWE tag team should be in their, world. They have a lot of charisma, character work is good, comedic timing, and like Clark mentioned, they are very solid in-ring workers. I see a high potential in them, and I hope we get to shine that potential after Mania is done, and eventually get them in the tag team title picture. Potentially, inch their way to being champs at some point. Who knows? Uh, the main focus obviously is this whole U.S. title picture, and it is something that has gradually grown on me week upon week upon week. Initially, I was kind of like, "Oh, this seems like why is Randy part of this? We already had Kevin Owens and Logan Paul, but man, these guys tell the story very well. The shenanigans are very fun as well. And I want to see the divide between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton because they're not a tag team. They're
Yeah.
competitors. They are going to fight each other at WrestleMania. There should be some animosity between both of these guys. I know Logan Paul is the heel, he's the champion, he's the one that's kind of playing games with them, but they can't lose their focus because if one of them loses their focus, the other one might go ahead and take it underneath, or Logan Paul might come out as victorious. So it's something I want to see them kind of show more of the deception between these guys, but also let Logan Paul continue playing in the role that he is doing. I'm one that is not super familiar of who Logan Paul is outside before he came to WWE. Have heard of the name. I know he's a popular YouTuber and whatnot. But I enjoy him in WWE. I think he plays to his character of who he is as an individual. And I think he's a guy who is an outsider, really has honed into the craft of being a professional wrestler. And I'm seeing the seriousness in it, and I'm seeing him progress as a character and as a professional wrestler more week upon week. So it's cool to see that. It's going to be a pretty good match because he is a pretty good in-ring worker. Randy Orton is one of the best workers of all time, and Kevin Owens is, one of the most underrated of all time. So super excited for it. Let's keep it building for next week. And yeah, man, let the Yes Boys get some more quality wins so they can become champs. Because I wouldn't mind to see them in this ladder match.
Oh, I
Off of the
wish they
fact
would have.
that, yeah, you know, there could have been a couple guys that maybe are in it that I would have rather seen them in it, but it's all good.
Well, I think there are a couple of people who we'll talk about later on who I don't think, deserve to be in this match who are, but in the ladder match who are in it. But hey, we'll get on to that later on. You mentioned Logan Paul. You mentioned, not knowing too much about him before he came in. But his entire kind of arc as a YouTuber was that he was somebody who was really annoying to anybody over the age of 15, 16. But to that younger audience, they generally really liked him. They found him funny. Others, the more older people, found him a bit cringe. Then as time went on, obviously controversy happened. And then just pretty much everybody disliked him. And he became a guy who was just very easy to dislike. And in WWE, he's now, since he's turned heel, he's played into that perfectly. And him and WWE is almost a match made in heaven. It really, really is, because the guy's just a natural heel. He's naturally got a face you kind of want to punch. And I mean, just to make things even worse, he's taken to this industry like nobody has in a long, long time. He's the full package, and it's really annoying.
He's doing, but the thing is this though, man. Like he's doing a lot of good for WWE,
Oh,
like
he is.
outside of the in ring. Because like I
For
think
sure.
him being part of like, and I think you and me talked about it yesterday too, Clark. Like the
Yeah.
whole podcasting aspect to it, and allowing wrestlers, how popular he is and how many subscribers he has as a podcast. Getting a Rhea Ripley or whoever it may be, maybe they'll get like a Dominic Mysterio, whatever it may be. Any
Orton, they had
superstar, Orton was on it, right? Edge was
kind of
on it.
started this.
Becky, Sasha, like they
Cena.
Cena, like he gets great guests, and it's a good avenue on a media aspect for it. And I think he adds way more to just being a wrestler. He's a good entity for WWE to sign. I think it was genius of them getting him.
Yeah, I agree, man. I
No doubt.
completely agree.
No doubt about it in the slightest. I mean, Jordy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, very similar. And it's something. I went through it. I'm a big Pokemon fan. So I've been through a Logan Paul invasion before, and kind of went through exactly the same thing. Of it was negative at first, but when all of a sudden you started to see the stock of Pokemon cards rise, people were all of a sudden people that I'd been sort of following for years that weren't really making a living out of being on YouTube talking about Pokemon could all of a sudden make a living because it just became this ultra popular thing during lockdown. And then he's done the same thing with WWE, in all fairness. And I'll be completely honest, like I do like him. And because I went through it in the Pokemon situation first, I kind of, when he came into WWE, I kind of knew that this could, know it was going to happen. I can't predict the future, but I was like, look, this guy can actually do good for these things. I've seen it happen now for something that maybe I was gatekeeping through nostalgia, which I think people can do. And I understand we don't like outsiders coming in because quite often, unless you're within this pro wrestling bubble, people from the outside tend to poke fun at it. So you kind of see that, and you see somebody this mainstream coming over, and you think, are you doing it for you? You're not doing it because you love it. You're doing it for your own benefit, kind of. You're doing it to promote. But at this point now, everyone's kind of said, oh, we need to see him have a real match, and then every big match on a main stage, he's performed to a high level. No, we need to see him have a proper run. Well, he's been on SmackDown every week for the past however many weeks with the title, and it's been a fairly decent run. So it is getting to a point now where I think like even the people that don't like him are getting to a point where they love to hate him and they can appreciate what he's bringing to the business. But in terms of the match itself, yeah, I'm intrigued. I kind of wish they'd approached it. You get Kevin and Randy with these two very hothead characters. I want to see Logan play on that. I want to see him try and turn them against each other and be like an intelligent criminal mastermind situation where he's getting people to maybe go and say to Randy, or did you hear that Kevin had said this? Or, I don't know, something little to kind of let them two end up exploding on each other, fighting it out so he can just pin one of them and walk away with a title and pick up the scraps. So yeah, I'm excited.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that they've kind of left it so late to do that makes me kind of think, and maybe I'm overthinking it here, maybe I'm not. We're going to find out next weekend. But maybe he will do exactly what you just said, Jordy. And then maybe post-Mania, we'll get a Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens feud. Maybe one of them will turn heel on the other. A heel Randy Orton, I'm always down to see. And kind of the same with Kevin Owens. Not even kind of. It's the exact same with Kevin Owens as well. But now let's move on. And let's move on to talk about something else that I loved on last night's episode of SmackDown, because they did a video package. Well, Io Sky did a video package in the WWE Performance Center earlier this week, and she was talking about how Bayley is a hypocrite, and the promo makes a lot of sense. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Heel work, when there's a layer of truth to it, but still the fans are refusing to accept it, is the best heel work, because it makes sense from a writing perspective, yet you'll still cheer or boo, whatever, right? And I thought this Io Sky promo was brilliant. But what I thought was even more brilliant was the production of how Bayley attacked afterwards. Bayley ran in and started attacking Io Sky. The cameras went off. They were using CCTV footage and all of that. Honestly, WWE's production this week, this past month, has just seemed to go up a tier. It really, really has. They're trying to do more unique things. They're trying to be a bit more innovative. And I think it's working brilliantly. And I thought this segment between Bayley and Io Sky perfectly, absolutely perfectly showed that. Clark, what was your thoughts on this segment?
I mean, in the idea, the hypocrisy of Io Sky's part of the promo was laughable to me, in that it was about Bayley advancing herself, because that has not happened until just now. And then that promo just advanced Bayley. Oh yeah, and then the beatdown. It was all about the beatdown and the production for me too. That was what made this segment. Bayley was outstanding. Io Sky was outstanding in playing the role, but it is entirely hypocritical what she was saying. If you look at it, right, that's just kind of a fact until right this second, which is where the irony comes in, and that's where the beatdown has to happen. So the timing on that was perfect. The lamps part of it cracked me up. I loved the use of lamps. You don't often get lamps involved as weapons in WWE segments these days. And I think the lamp is underutilized, right? Almost everyone has lamps.
Is underutilized.
And I'm a big, I am pro lamps. And Bayley, and then the spear through the set was ideal too, just to mess everything up. I loved it. They're back at the Performance Center. Both went through the Performance Center. Both went through NXT. I think it's awesome. I'm excited to see the match. I'm excited for Bayley to go over. I think we need one more though next week, just to really get everything going. But other than that, I have virtually no complaints when it comes to that one.
Yeah, no, it was great. And Clark Taylor, anti-tie clips, pro lamps. We're getting, a feel about it now. But with David Marge in the comments agreeing with you, saying, yes, lamps are underused. And he's also saying that he was surprised that Pretty Deadly went over last night as well. I mean, this segment, truly, the production of it, the production of just everything in WWE as of late just has gone up a notch, and you kind of just felt it. You're feeling that there's a new vibe in the air. And I think that a lot of people, including myself, kind of forgot that how much of a difference production can make in a wrestling TV show. And we're seeing it. We've seen it this week. We saw it with that phenomenal Rock segment, and we saw it again.
Look at the Rock's entrance, even, right? His new entrance. Yes. The production is off the charts.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm a big believer that WWE just have not done a good job with entrance production over the last couple of years now, but we're starting to see a few really good ones. We saw Jade Cargill, which we'll get into a little bit later on the show last night, but that's another perfect example. And I really hope they are trying to put a bit more attention and give more love to these entrances, because they were a big part of what makes professional wrestling great. For sure.
So true.
Now let's move on, and let's move on to talk about the tag team division, because we had two, not one, but two qualifying matches for the ladder match last night. The 6-team ladder match at WrestleMania. Of course, we know that the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest will be defending those tag team belts at the grandest stage of them all. But we now know who will face them as well. There was the two final qualifiers last night on SmackDown as Grayson Waller and Austin Theory teamed up to take on the Street Profits in what was, I thought, a good match. And then after that, we had Angel and Garza. What was I doing writing these notes, by the way?
Legado del
Angel.
Fantasma.
Oh, Berto and Garza, right? Berto and Angel, as they're known now. They scrapped the other part of their names, took on the New Catch Republic. And this is why I'm thrown off, right?
Whoa. The New Catch, what? They don't get that last part of their names.
Exactly. Yeah. Redacted. The New Catch redacted. That's what's thrown me off about this entire thing. And it's really frustrating me. Pete Dunne and Master Bate have just taken it upon themselves to steal the Republic name, which we own. We created, Shad. I think you know that. Yeah. George Lucas. We inspired him when he wrote Star Wars. That is also a known fact, but they stole a victory. They absolutely stole a victory from Berto and Angel last night, and it should have been pretty deadly. The Yes Boys in that match instead. And also, in my personal opinion, I think it should have been the Street Profits going to Mania instead as well. I'm sure they're doing a storyline with the New Testament, but Waller Theory, I thought we were breaking them up. I thought that's the story we were telling, and now we've kind of just ignored that storyline. We've just left it in Australia, it seems. What were your thoughts, Shad?
So I agree with you on, and this is crazy. I like Pete Dunne and I like Tyler Bate a lot as wrestlers, but I don't think they are as deserving of a Mania spot compared to a lot of other tag teams that are left off this match. It's Mania, man. You got to get your most prize, prestige people on the show. These guys have a lot of potential, but there's still a new tag team on the main roster, right? They lost the tag team match which was a very great match against the Judgment Day. But I mean, they lost their opportunity, and it takes away an element of some star power that could be in this Mania match, in my opinion. And that's the Street Profits. They're a team that I've numerously said have being wasted in storyline with Bobby Lashley. And the match yesterday was okay, but we knew what was going to happen. The little video of Karrion Kross beating up Lashley and, drinking out of his champagne glass. Like, these factions, I don't know. There's just something not clicking with either faction. And we'll probably get a match with them that may be at Mania. Who knows? But I think the Street Profits are best bet in a tag team match of this magnitude, especially a ladder match, especially with Montez Ford. How amazing he is. Like, oh man, that's a big loss. I wouldn't have mind seeing Pretty Deadly being that last slot, but I'll be honest with you, I'm cool with Theory and Waller being in this match. I do agree that the storyline has kind of been, stop and go. It hasn't really, we don't know what's happened between them two, but like, those guys are like known people to the main roster. I would have had them. I'm mad those two went against each other last night. I think the last two spots should have been Theory, Waller, and the Street Profits. And I would have had booked it for that, because that makes it seem like a more notable ladder match going into Mania. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I hope Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate fans don't have their pitchforks ready to run me out of town. But I don't know. It's one of those cases where I think they could have gone a little bit more star heavy with it.
Well, I'm going to be honest. You said you were a fan of Mr. Dunne and Master Bate. I am not a fan of either man, right? And guess what? Once upon a time, many blue moons ago, I, in fact, was a big fan of these two guys. I thought they were two of the best I mean, British wrestlers we've seen in a long, long time.
Sure.
I was a huge fan of them in the United Kingdom tournament. I was a huge fan of them in NXT UK. And then I noticed on Mr. Dune's Instagram that he is a supporter of Tottenham.
Oh.
Oh no!
Do you need a
Get the
minute?
trash can for
You gonna be all right?
Batman.
Get him
He
the,
about
get
to
him the
puke.
trash can.
It's an eck, to say the very least. Mr. Dune, he then stole my name as well, Republic, which again we created. He didn't. So Mr. Dune, not even Tyler. That name's redundant. That's gone. Masturbate. You're both gone. You're both out. You're both the idiots of the week. You all thought that I forgot. I didn't. They are the idiots of
Got
the
'em.
week. But let me tell you who aren't the idiots of the week. They are our good friends over at Next Level. Because listen, we all know in this day and age, there's too many links all in one place. You don't know where to, find us on Twitter. You don't know where to find us on all the platforms. It's all confusing. Trust me. Just naming them off for this ad read at times is confusing. That's how many social media platforms there are nowadays. Well, Next Level has made it so much simpler. All our content, all in one place. All our links in one place. It's simple. Plus exclusive content. Plus giveaways. The WrestleMania giveaway winner was announced yesterday. There's a brand new giveaway we'll be announcing on Monday as well. They're great guys. Next Level. To see all our links, you go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms, all linked in one place. And we have David Marche, and yes, absolutely. And we have Melissa Robinson. Shout out to Melissa as well. And we have John, who believes Jade Cargill is maybe the next big star. We'll be getting on to talking about her in just a moment.
I don't know about maybe. I think she is the next star, but yeah.
We're gonna talk about it.
We'll get into it.
No spoilers.
We're spoiler free with a clean sheet. I washed my sheets today. I had to get rid of all the dirt stains on them from all these dirt sheets going around.
I actually just got brand new sheets.
Well, don't you worry. I'm sure these dirt sheets will be staining them behind a paywall very, very soon, Clark. But now let's move on. Let's move on to talk about, the guy who we wouldn't be here without today, and that's AJ Styles. The reason why I started the Wrestling Republic page, I've talked about it a million times. But of course, he's having this WrestleMania feud with LA Knight. And I've kind of said I've not been the biggest fan of the build. It kind of feels like they've just, kind of not been bothered. But last night, AJ Styles came out. He cut a decent promo. He expected LA Knight to attack him. He thought tons of people were LA Knight. Somebody from the crowd jumped in. He wasn't LA Knight, but LA Knight was standing there the entire time, dressed as a security guard in a disguise, which was actually really, really good. This segment wasn't amazing. It wasn't out of this world, but it was fun and it did do its job. Am I super hyped for this? No. Did it do its job? Like I said, yeah. But Jordy, what were your thoughts on it?
I feel like for the past few weeks we've been here, and to be honest, LA Knight is totally my guy. If I could rewind however many 15 years and 15-year-old me would start an Instagram page, it would probably be about LA Knight, so we'd probably be feuding 15-year-olds.
I was actually 13, so I'd have 2 years up.
There we go. Well, I'll be older then, so that's a head start for me.
I was in my 20s while we're
anyone else.
Oh no.
No, yeah. So with AJ and LA, I think they've got more material than they could. There's more to this story with AJ and LA Knight. I feel that we could have dipped into, like maybe dip into something about the fact that kind of AJ came over from being in TNA and was kind of brought over as a made man. Like he was kind of brought over as this huge deal as AJ Styles, whereas LA Knight was also a champion over on TNA. didn't really get the same treatment he got as AJ Styles got when he came over to he worked his way up through NXT. So maybe there's something there. Do you know what I mean? That they could actually have a to and throw about where it's like, and then AJ said, well, I don't know, well, there's a reason for that, mate. Like, you know what I mean? Something like that, where it just gives a bit more personal vendetta to it. I think this one's heading for a cage, mate. I really do. We've not seen anything, no real stipulations. The kind of story that's going on is AJ's kind of been fleeing. He's kind of been running from LA Knight. Not saying he's not coming to SmackDown or an LA Knight. Well, I'll come and get you then he gets arrested. So he kind of gives me that vibe of, let me get you in a ring where you can't escape, or maybe a no holds barred, or maybe a false count anywhere. It's just that kind of thing where it's like, you can't get out of it in this match. There's no way out for you. We have to just fight. And I really do think AJ is going to put LA Knight over, man. I think the way that AJ is playing the character in this particular feud, like I've said, he's kind of running away, which just seems a little bit weird to see AJ like that. Like kind of the AJ I know, he wouldn't have been like, I'm going to go home, I won't be at SmackDown next week. He'd be like, right, I'll see you there, I'll bring a chair. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I just feel like the way, and I think LA Knight needs to go over more than AJ does in terms of the long run. So I'd love to see it. When you look at last year at Mania, you had people chanting his name and he wasn't around. You had him in the Battle Royale and he didn't even win that. To see him actually at Mania on the main card this year, I'm just happy to see that. So yes, the build could have been better, but I'm happy to see both of these two guys in a singles match, to be honest. And I've got no doubt they'll put on a show.
Absolutely. No, I do agree, and I do love the idea of a cage match, and so does David Marge in the comment section as well. I mean, we are really lacking stipulations for this year's WrestleMania. That is something which I've noticed as well. We obviously have the ladder match, but outside of that, well, we don't really have many. Maybe Bloodline Rules Night 2, but like you said,
a lot of tagging,
match.
man. A lot of tagging, like
there is
with the other match being announced with Bianca, etc. And you know, there's just a lot of tag matches going on, and it just seems like, right, just give us. I guess the triple threat probably gonna see some kind of weapons involved there, with it being no DQ. But yeah, give us a cage, man. It's Mania. Give us a cage.
Absolutely. They're beginning to have more tag matches than a New Japan Pro Wrestling undercard at this rate. But now let's move on. But before we do, we have Bobby Petito in the comments. Shout out to you, Bobby. I hope you're having a great day. But now let's move on and let's talk about the big topic. Jade Cargill. The storm was coming. Well, the storm has arrived, and she arrived in a major way. She's got a new killer entrance. She feels like a star. She sounds like a star. She looks like a star. Jade Cargill. She is a star, and she might maybe just be WWE's next top star. I truly believe that. She made her appearance last night, and she is money, absolutely money. She then came out, cut a little promo, went away, and then later in the night in the main event, we had Bianca Belair, Dakota Kai, put on a fairly enjoyable but also fairly short main event match. But after the match, Naomi tried to save Bianca Belair from the damage control beatdown, but 2 against 3, it kind of just wasn't working out well one bit. But the storm then arrived once again. There were weather warnings at SmackDown last night, and Jade Cargill came and she just laid damage control out easily. Wade Barrett in commentary said the women's division, everything we know about the women's division has just changed, and he was absolutely right. Jade Cargill in that moment looked like the biggest threat and the biggest star in this women's division. I am delighted to see her on Friday night. I was a big Jade Cargill fan when she was in AEW, and now in WWE, I am really excited to see what she is going to do. But Jordy, what about you?
Man, exactly the same. Like you say, the presentation was faultless. Like, it really was. Like we spoke about entrances and stuff like that, and creating that aura from the moment that we kind of see her introduced onto the main roster. Yeah, we saw her in the Rumble, and that was a hell of a showing. She came and she just picked up Nia Jax and threw her out of the ring, and yeah, so they're playing the cards right with Jade Cargill. I think they really are. They've held back. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think putting her in a tag match with such a high level of the other five are so great, man. And this isn't at all a slight to Jade, but put me in that match and I think I could survive because of how good the other five are. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not to carry it, but to just give Jade that platform to know that everything else is going to go right and she can just go and do what she does. And kind of, I think her having such iconic people from within that division around her, especially someone like Bianca and Asuka, man, like, it's just, I think that match really is going to be great. In terms of the women's division in general, man, they keep playing their cards right with Jade Cargill. I think I said a couple of weeks ago that I think Rhea's going to win and go on to still be holding that title next Mania. I had no idea at that time who could actually then go and take it off Rhea. I said that at the time. I think we probably just saw the person who can. I think play your cards right, man. Give her a Rumble win and give her a Mania shot at Rhea. Like, in terms of that powerhouse, that's somebody who Rhea would actually look at and be like, uh-oh. Like, how many of them is there in the division? Not many, and we've got another one. And like you say, I'm excited and I'm happy for Jade, man. I just really am. I think this is exactly what she needs in terms of the way that she's being portrayed. And it wouldn't surprise me. I've seen it in the comments there. I want to see Bianca versus Jade. I do too, but I don't want to see it at Mania. I want to see Bianca's record protected at Mania, and I want to see Bianca put Jade over. So I don't want that to happen at Mania. Put it at SummerSlam or something. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens.
Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. Oh, that would be a great match. And
Huge.
So would Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. That match, I mean, that is genuinely a WrestleMania level main event down the line. I really do believe so. And Shad, I know yesterday you were talking about maybe WrestleMania 41 being the time for women to main event back-to-back nights. Could Jade Cargill be one of the women to main event?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, she could be one of the main events next year at WrestleMania. Give it 365 days. We saw it yesterday. They presented her like the superstar that she is yesterday. Entrance, flawless. She is flawless in regards to an aesthetic as a professional wrestler. She's chiseled from marble. Like, that woman has zero body fat on her. She's an absolute beast. And she looked like a beast yesterday, man. I loved everything built in that main event. The whole storyline within Damage Control and the mastermind who was very underrated, Dakota Kai, may I add. A lot of people need to give her a little bit respect because I think she does stuff in character that is super positive in regards to that faction, and she helps Oscar and Kyrie Sane as a faction like manager as slash
like the glue.
wrestler. Yeah, she is the glue. She is the person that is like the, you know, like the Robert Horry of the team, man. She does the stuff that matters when you do it. So she's doing her work and she's doing a good job. And the match was solid. You get that moment, and I predicted it yesterday also on the daily that I think this is what's going to happen. We're going to get Jade coming out, and we're going to get this multi-woman match between Damage Control versus the super team of Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Jade. That's a Mania match. If there's a Mania match, that's putting 6 of your best women's wrestlers on the card in a storyline that makes sense, and it looks like it makes sense. Like that picture of Naomi, Bianca, and Jade standing tall and then pointing at the Mania sign, like, man, it has people on internet super excited for it, and it has me super excited for it. So I'm stoked for it, man. I think, the power bomb that she hit on Dakota was clean. I think Jade's ready. I think they've been keeping her. That power bomb was so nice, bro.
It was
So good.
so good.
Yeah.
So
Such a
good.
good power bomb. Oh man, and she's gonna look like $1 million at Mania because she's got people like Dakota Kai and Kyrie Sane that are incredible like sellers, and man, I'm excited for it. The potential is out the roof, and I'm hoping that we get to hit that max potential. And also salute to Megan for her tweet that she posted because I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that does not need to not like that can't be a point that is shrugged underneath the table. Like representation matters. You got three of the most prominent African American professional wrestlers in general, in Bianca, Naomi, and Jade in a Mania match together. That's dope to see, man.
It's
It
amazing.
really, truly is. With a few comments here, we have Bobby Petito saying Jade Cargill or Tiffany Stratton could potentially win the Royal Rumble match in 2025. I mean, I think Shad would be thrilled either way with that.
Tiffany Stratton's
Um,
promo yesterday, her vignette was also amazing yesterday too.
Is that
It
the
was
time?
so good. It was that actually no, Shad. I want to very quickly bring that up. You are right. That promo package by Tiffany on last night's SmackDown. I
The
mean,
Uggos.
Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
We
I love
spoke
it.
about we
Uggos
spoke
is
about
gold.
Logan Paul earlier today about how quickly he talked to the business. She's like 2 years into the business and just cutting promos like that, like so easily, so
She
naturally.
got the character work to a T. Like she's playing that Paris Hilton Sharpay from High School Musical.
And they're
like,
letting her
stuck
do
up
it as
rich
well.
girl so well. Yeah,
They're,
man.
they're letting her do it. They're letting her say Uggos. They're letting her just be a mean girl, and
Uggos
that
is
just
so
let her
fun.
do it, man. Like because it's just such a good character in herself.
She said
So, yeah.
glitter is running through my veins.
So gold.
A lot of quotables there.
Oh gosh. Well, Clark, you were a big fan of Jade Cargill. You have been a big fan of Jade Cargill for a very long time. What do you think now that the storm has arrived on Friday nights?
So what I will definitely say is if you are a Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast historian, you do remember the day that I controversially said that in the long run, Jade Cargill would be a more important signing for WWE over from AEW than Cody Rhodes. And I still believe it. I agree with both Shad and Jordy on this, that she can not only be the star of the women's division, I think she can be close to face of the company. And that's shout out Cincinnati. Look, Brandon Phillips, I know a good friend of his, Zach Cozart, very well. They're amazing people. She has whatever the it factor is, however you like to quantify that, she has it in spades times 100. You can't make it up. If I had to nitpick on last night's segment, I felt like it was the first time I've actually ever seen her take the microphone because I think she's so naturally talented. And it did feel a little bit like she was reading lines on the initial promo. With the return, maybe not, but there were a few stumbles along and it did feel a little bit rehearsed and a little red. That's fine. That's fine. That is not a knock on her talent because I think she's such a natural. Maybe if you give her bullet points, this is something you work with there so that she can deliver it the way she would deliver it. Now we're talking, right? There was a moment where she kind of stumbled. It appeared she was about to curse and she didn't. She avoided it. But I do think, right, there's an adjustment to be made. That's the only place. She still has such charisma and such the it factor, even despite that delivery wise. That's like me saying, like, yeah, Michael Jordan had a tough night from the mid-range, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to believe you me. In no way am I saying Jade Cargill can't cut a great promo because I think she's one of the best promos in the business already by far. Just given her presence, her delivery, her posture, all of that, the voice is everything she does is believable. And those are all cliches at times when it comes to wrestling, but they're legitimate when it comes to Jade Cargill. I believe she can pick up Nia Jax, like Jordy said, and throw her over the top rope in the Royal Rumble. Totally. That's the one chick in the women's division that I'm like, yep, no problem. Makes perfect sense, right? I absolutely believed when she was in AEW, unbeatable. The undefeated streak made more than enough sense. Could hang in her debut in the ring with Shaq and Cody Rhodes, no less, right? She made that match. She made
did.
that. The hottest tag in that match was not Shaquille O'Neal. It was Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill, yeah.
And that is absurd. And it wasn't Cody either. Now, Cody did a lot of work there. He helped Shaq through the table and whatnot. And I get Cody's in the main event here. This is a different animal now. But I go back to the it factor thing I said earlier, and not to repeat myself over and over, but she has whatever the it factor is beyond over the top in a way that we have not seen men's or women's in a long, long time.
And another factor as well, you mentioned Cody Rhodes right there. You mentioned, the comparison between him and Jade Cargill. They both came over from AEW. Well, I mean, Cody Rhodes did come over, but he came over when he was almost 37 years old. Jade Cargill's come over and she's just turned 31 years old. I mean, genuinely, you said it. You guys said it. Clark, you just said it.
Yeah. 31, but she's only 4 years in wrestling too. Like,
I know.
That's mileage.
She's younger off of wrestling mileage. And look, man, I don't know what her regimen is on working out, but her body can handle. Yeah, she's gonna last for as long as she wants. And then,
that silhouette when she was stood there like that first time, and it was just a silhouette. It was godlike. It was goddess-like. You know what I mean?
It truly was. I do agree with you guys, and to your point, Clark, I do agree. Maybe one day, not maybe. I think it's a very much a possibility she could become as big, if not bigger, than Cody Rhodes, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. But that does bring us to the end of the show, guys. Thank you to Jordy, thank you to Clark, and thank you to Shad for joining me here today. Tomorrow, an important programming note. If you live in the United States, we'll be returning to our old time slot of 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. If you're in the UK, normal time, 8 p.m. Basically, we're going back to the exact time slot we were in 3 weeks ago before these clocks changed and went all confusing.
9 a.m. in Hawaii.
9 a.m. in Hawaii.
Back on Tiffy time, baby.
Absolutely. It's Tiffy time, and it's Jade Cargill's time, and most importantly, it's almost WrestleMania time. We will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.